Somebody was asking me in the comments my thoughts on analog consoles, and they're great when they work, but they are getting older and older. And the thing is, you have to kind of take that all in consideration. When I worked at Sigma, we had an SSL J series there, and we sold the console to make room for the A room to get demoed for the new room that was going to be put in there. And the one thing I remember in the A room, you walked in, it was about 72 degrees. It was perfect temperature. And when we had to turn off uh, disassemble the console so we can get it out of there, that room became freezing cold. And it was something I was just kind of thinking about. You don't realize how much air conditioning you need to just cool down those big consoles because they're giving off heat. And also we had the machine room in the back, this big rack with all the computers in it that made a huge amount of noise, and that gave off heat. So that's one consideration when you have a big analog console, the heat that's coming off of them. The other thing you have to take in consideration is that heat is cooking everything that's inside there. Long term, I mean, we're talking 20, 30 years. Some of these, the capacitors, they're getting cooked, and the signal that goes through all that circuits, they don't sound the same. So when people say they have to recap their console, it's a big deal. You have to take each module out and go and take out each one of the components and replace it and make sure it's up to spec. And when that's done, they do sound great, but that is a lot of work to do for each one of those modules. And then on top of that, you have to figure out getting parts. And some of these, like these old SSLs, I remember when we had Boys to Men studio, the Stone Creek, it was getting to a point where it was hard getting parts for those consoles. I mean, there's some things they're doing. There's one company that makes power supplies that are quiet and don't take as much energy. And then there's another, I think the company's called Tangerine Audio. They make a computer system for the SSLs, so you don't have to use that big computer system, and it integrates well with a new computer, and I think it works with Pro Tools really well too. So they're trying to make all these old consoles work, and they do sound great. Don't get me wrong, when everything works. When everything doesn't work, it's a big problem. I had a Trident Vector here, in my office, and I sold. I bought it from a college, Lebanon Valley College, and I got it into my office, and I was going to work on it, but my health condition, I just couldn't do it. So I sold it, and the guy who bought it, I remember when he came to get it, he had to take it apart to move it into a van. And I remember as he was taking it apart, each module he's taken out and he was looking at it and he was analyzing what he could see what was wrong with it. And some things you can't see, but some things you know right away. And when he got the whole console back to his studio, he went and recapped the whole console, which was a big deal. And he got the console up and running and perfectly working great. But so if you're not capable of doing all that kind of tech work, you're going to have to hire techs that can do that work. And also trying to find good techs is getting hard to do. So in the comments, the person was asking me, is the future modular high quality mic pre's and A to D converters? And I've seen that happening at a bunch of studios I would go to that had consoles. The consoles are gone, and then they have this big, like an Argosy piece of furniture, and they have a big rack of mic pre's, and they have really nice converters, and they have a rack of their compressors and EQs. So it's kind of, they've recreated their console that way rather than having a physical console in front of them. So as much as you love that eye candy, the big console when you walk in, I think they're going to go away. And the person was asking, you had some Neve VR Legends and they couldn't sell them. Well, I've talked to a lot of people that sell secondhand consoles, and the kind of the trend is studios don't want the big consoles. They don't want the 96 input or They want the small 24, maybe 48 at the most. They want them smaller. So they're even cutting the consoles and trying to make side carts. Uh, so that's going on too. So there's a trend with that. So those are my comments about analog consoles right now. Great, bottom line, great if they work and they're all kept up to date. Big headache if they're not. And keep in mind too, not just the maintenance, but your air conditioning and electric bill is going to cost you a good amount of money.